Kraven. I can't let him get away with this. I need to know more, inside information on Fisk. And I've got an old friend who can get it.
Good evening, good morning. Well, hold up. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning. My bad. I'm trying to remember what time it is. This is my third time trying to record this because I've messed up twice already. And today I am doing a lore vid on Superior Spider-Man, one of my favorite Spider-Man, and I actually like his design better than most, but still this is still one of my favorite Spider-Man runs, I'll say that. This is when Doc Ock took over Spider-Man's body at a certain point in time. Doc Ock was dying. He switched up their minds, and I forgot how because I just whipped out most of my books and discovered I don't have that particular story or comic book panel where that happened. I thought I had it on hand. I was wrong. I'll get it later, or I'll figure it out where it is and what it looks like on Amazon, Google, whatever. But as you can see, I'm starting with this magnificent design right here. Now, as I said before, this is when Doc Ock got the better of Peter and he switched his body. And when Peter was in Doc Ock's body, he technically did die, and he buried him. And first thing he did after he went to the gravestone too and said goodbye to Peter, he went to go mess around with Mary Jane. And when he figured out what she looked like and what she does, he was so flabbergasted how lucky Peter Parker really was, and how he kind of threw his time away knowing he could have really been with Mary Jane for a while. I don't agree with that though. I think she's a hoe, but that's a different story for another day. Then as he kind of threw Mary Jane aside, he went around playing as Spider-Man. Now mind you, he's trying to get used to being in this body, so he's much stronger, much faster, much agile. Shoot, there are some things he's done he didn't think Peter could or couldn't do. Plus, one of the first new things he did was fight one of his adversaries, which was the Vulture. He threw him in a goddamn what's that thing they call for bat? Oh, he threw him in a light signal. I'm sorry, cause he crashed them there on purpose, left him darn near paralyzed. Then, as time progressed and he tried to get more used to the body, he went ahead and started fighting a couple of villains. They were kind of low grade. I know one of them was Screwball, and in the midst of the fight, when they kind of almost got the upper hand, he hit both of them so hard he dislocated their jaws. He didn't even hit them with 100% force. He hit them, he said, with about 15 or 20. So after he did that, he was like, wow, every time I fought Peter Parker, or Spider-Man in this case, he was really holding back a good majority of his strength so he didn't kill me. So I could have died every time we encountered. He was really disappointed and disrespected is what he felt like really after discovering that notion.
But you're saying he's actually setting himself up as the top crime boss?
If y'all hear that thunder in the background, that means it's raining over here. I'm just trying to get this out
Whitney
before
Chang
it
on
all
a story.
goes downhill.
She needs proof. You're closer to Fisk than anyone I know.
Not really. He keeps his business private.
My bad.
As an investor,
So,
I do have access
after
to the
making
task
this
force's
discovery,
financial records.
he made some more modifications to the suit and all his tech.
One of the addresses
Most
you
of the
gave
tech
me came
you
up.
see in Spider-Man
Large payments to a
PS4,
security
Miles,
consultant.
and what's coming up in the sequel, most of the
Fisk
tech
handles
stuff
all
we
the
use
personnel
is stuff either
decisions.
that Doc Ock invented or improved
He's the one
upon
who
from
hired
Peter's
this Kravinoff guy.
previous
He cooked the
work.
books. So
He started
technically,
working at
Oscorp's
he made
paying
his
him.
own company from
He's
literally
trying
the
to throw me under
ground
the
up
bus.
because he had like a
the
small
club.
little lab storage closet or something like that.
You okay?
He made the tech.
Yeah,
He upgraded the
just-
suit. He had
trusted
got a
someone I
crew,
shouldn't have.
and they were slowly
My
but
brother should've
surely
seen it,
making
but
Parker Industries.
After
He
losing my
quit the
dad,
Daily Bugle.
Uncle Ben,
He even quit the Avengers. He damn
Guess
near
I
threw up
wanted
a
to
middle finger to
believe
Captain
You
America
wanted
and
a
swung
father
off.
figure. I know what
He,
that's like.
I hate to
My
view
dad
it. I hate to say
shut
this,
me out of
but
his life to
he
focus on saving
confronted
his
Black
own.
Cat when she was trying to subdue or
And all
woo
he
him.
ended
That
up
he
leaving
beat
me
her
was
so
the
badly she
disease that
damn near
killed him.
bled to death on the rooftop. But he called the cops and sent her to prison. Ever since then, she has been pissed at this nigga for so long. And it sucked. I really hate it for him, but it's true. Then this fool fights a psychopath, and he figured out who he worked for.
Harry,
He murdered
I'm
the
sorry.
psychopath while as Spider-Man.
It's
Found out
genetic.
who paid him to hurt
Very
all these
rare.
people and said, if you don't go to the police, I will
Degenerative.
find you myself.
My father
Then as time progressed,
extended his life
he's
by
thinking he's
spending a
home free,
fortune while
scot-free,
he looked
doing
for a
whatever he
cure.
wants. But slowly
have that
but
kind of
surely,
time.
Peter Parker was hiding in his mental
gotta be
state,
some
slowly regaining strength
Gene
to take
therapy.
on Doc Ock again, but on
That's
a
what
different
all
form.
my dad's research
The
was
first time
about.
he probably figured out that Peter was in his head was he was trying to save a little girl off the subway, but Doc Ock was focused
Is
on
that
the
why
villain
Norman started the
instead of the little
cross-species
girl. Doc Ock
experiments?
didn't care about
Yeah.
casualties or
He thought he
fatalities.
could give himself
So
the
Peter took
resistance some
control for
animals
10
have
seconds,
to conditions
leaped in
like
to
this.
save the girl and come back, and
closest he
Doc
ever
Ock
got
knew it wasn't
was the
him.
work he
So
did
he
on
wondered if it
spiders
was
with your
either
father.
his subconscious or his
Dad
spider
disappeared.
powers. He thought it was his powers because he know he has
His work
spider
went
sense.
with him.
The second time this happened, he was doing surgery
Your
on the
task
girl
force.
because he felt the
Their
doctors
body
were being
armor has medical
insignificant on trying to do it. They were
Can it
being
help at all?
either lazy
not
or
a
he
cure,
felt like they were
but
incompetent.
it
So
can give
he
mobility
took
to
control,
people who
and
can't
Peter
get
was
around on their
slowly
own.
but surely trying to guide him
The
through
task
how to
force
do
has
this
helped me
without killing
improve
her.
on it. And
So,
protect my research from criminals who'd
After
steal
that,
it.
he felt like something subconsciously
It was a
was
mistake
in
to
his
work
head.
with Fisk.
And then when their memories started to
Yeah.
collide with each
Once
other,
you're sick,
Doc Ock
you
doesn't
figured it
remember
out.
about Peter and what he's
And
been
now
through,
he's
all
waiting
the
for me to
friends he's
die
met,
so he can take
and all the
Oscorp for
hardships
himself.
Doc Ock went through. Peter started sensing and remembering and walking through them. They had a confrontation in the mental
Listen,
state.
Pete.
Peter was winning
Think from a
until
guy
Doc
who
Ock had
knows.
another sleeve,
When the
or like
people
another
you
trick of the
trust turn
sleeve.
their back on
He
you,
made some
just
form of
proof you have to
machine
handle your
or an
problems
instrument
yourself.
that was meant to
But
stop,
sometimes
like meant to erase Peter Parker
you
100%
still need help.
from his mind. So
Harry, I'll do
that
whatever I
actually
can for
managed to
you.
happen,
Just
and
tell
he
me what
was actually
Spider-Man.
dead for a while.
No one
But
knows
only
for
a
sure how
small
he got his
remnant of him
powers.
remained, but it wasn't
But he
enough to
looks
take
to
on
me
Doc Ock.
like the only
Ooh,
successful,
boy.
healthy example
So from that
of
point forward,
cross-species
Doc Ock
genetics
thought
out
he
there.
won scot-free.
You take
He
pictures
did
of
everything
it.
he wanted to do after
must
that.
have
He
some
went ahead
way of
and even set
reaching
up
it.
shop
Whoa.
at the RAF.
Peter,
Made upgrades to the prison
I need
itself.
Spider-Man's
Took it
blood.
over basically. Made more upgraded tech, and then the crazier things started to happen midway. Like the Spider-Verse started to happen because Miguel O'Hara 2099 was stuck in the present. But when the Spider-Verse happened, he kind of started hopping from dimension and even went back to his own time at one point. But he helped save Superior Spider-Man from, I think, Morlun, because Superior Spider-Man was jumping between dimensions as well, and he was finding dead Spider-Man everywhere he went. Like, there was a dead Fantastic Five version of him. There was the Amazing Spider-Man version of him dead. There was the Armored Spider-Man dead. The Iron Spider was dead. Like, all these other dimensions you've seen Peter Parker, or like other possible stories that you've seen Peter Parker, all these versions of them were dead. And it really sucks. So what he did was he went ahead and geared up, made upgrades, devised a plan to find all these other Spider-Men, save them, and see if they can take on the bad guys. Mind you, since him and
Poor
Miguel
Harry.
both figured this out,
I want to help him,
they
but
both went hunting
the
for
proper
all the
testing, my
Spider-Men
blood could
as,
actually make
and
things
women as much
worse.
as they could, recruited them. Peter Parker from the future, or in this case, from the main timeline 616 future, came with them as well. But Doc Ock, Superior Spider-Man, didn't know if this version of him was either from the past or the future, so he was being very self-conscious and self-aware of the whole situation. He eventually figured out who he really was at the end of the Spider-Verse, though. He figured out he was from the future and that Doc Ock at some point does either cease to exist or die. But he couldn't focus on it too much because there was too much going on in the present. There was a Venom outbreak, I believe, or a Spider Island or something like that. Then you had mainly
if my blood could cure Harry, I'd give it to
the
him in a
Hobgoblin
heartbeat.
coming back into town.
But
And the
it'll take time
Hobgoblin
and
would
lots
made
of
him even
research
more of a
to find
challenge
out.
because he started an army.
in no mood
He
to
really
wait.
started out like a small gang, but then he took over most of the gangs in New York, made an army of them, gave them all gliders and stuff. They started destroying most of Manhattan, and then they reached to other places like Brooklyn and the Bronx. Spider-Man couldn't do it alone, even though he preferred to do it alone. So he chooses to let everything he has done go. So that means the girl he met and had a relationship with, the industries he made, all the stuff he's been doing. He let all that go because he finally had a humble moment and told himself that I am not the best Spider-Man. So he goes back to the machine he made. He brings back Peter in some form or some fashion. But before he lets go and says his final goodbyes to Peter and all that, he went ahead and tried to show him his memories from the time he was a kid all the way to the point of now. He wanted him to remember a time where
If I
he
give
used to
Harry
be a
my blood
teacher,
without
a
testing it first,
scientist, a
you
good
could kill him.
man, versus
Or
the
turn him
villain he
into a
would be
monster
fighting
with
almost
Dr.
every
Connors.
day of the week. Basically,
who
like
knows how
they
many
said in the
people
Cross the
he might
Spider-Verse,
hurt
villain of the week.
or even
And
kill.
it sometimes would be Doc Ock most of those times. Excuse me, sorry. If you guys haven't had any Arizona juices, you should try the watermelon or the mango. Two of the best in my opinion. But that's not my sponsor for today's video, so I'm gonna put this down. But I do recommend you guys try it out though.
I'm starting to wonder
So
why
after they've had
anyone
their
would
final
keep working
goodbyes
in
and their final
Oscorp.
says, Doc Ock disappears and fades away into the afterlife, and you have Peter Parker coming back to life. He puts his original suit back on. He gets to work using all the tech and stuff that Doc Ock made, and he goes to town on the Hobgoblin, and you know how the story goes from there. Honestly, in my opinion, this is one of the best Spider-Man series I've ever read. I would still prefer Sensational Spider-Man and the Scarlet Spider-Man, as in Ben Reilly, but Doc Ock was a great take on this story. I really never would expect one of his villains to finally win one of these. And it kind of just made it more interesting because of the choices he made, the people he interacted with, and the villains he fought. It was fun. It was really fun. Then there was the Spider-Verse. It was so much
Catch up to
fun.
Harry and talk
It
to
was.
her.
I do recommend you go read it if you haven't read it already. The Superior Spider-Man, and he's even in the Spider-Verse. So it really don't matter how you start with the Spider-Verse, but make sure you read Superior Spider-Man.
You came. Thank
Now,
you.
when it comes
I'll
to
pay
other
whatever you
form of
want.
media,
Mr. Osborn, wait.
this suit
I checked with
alone
scientists
was in this
familiar with gene
game, and it was
therapy,
fun to
and I
play
can't give you
with,
my
but
blood.
I haven't
It's too
seen
dangerous.
anything
Dangerous.
prior to this, and if it wasn't anything prior,
I'll die
it was
without
in either
not right
Spider-Man
away.
Edge of Time or
There's
Shattered
still time for more
Dimensions, but I can't
research.
remember being
Every
that
other
far.
cross-species subject has turned into a monster.
And then
I don't know why it's
it
different
wasn't
for
in
me.
the
I'm
Ultimate
looking
Spider-Man
into it.
game,
I've paid
and it
the
wasn't
top
in the
minds in
first
the
Amazing
field
Spider-Man
to
game,
look into
and
it.
it wasn't even in the Spider-Man
A fortune.
PS4 version of
They
it. I
don't
really
have
wish
the
it was.
answers.
It would have fit, but it didn't.
I'm willing to take
Hopefully
the
they put it
chance.
in the second one, because this is one of the suits
It's
I
not
was
just
rooting
about
for
you.
to be in
The
the second
lizard,
game. It
the
would
other
make
cross
sense,
species, they
especially
hurt
the fact
people.
that the
Get
suit
out.
already
Kill
gives off
bitches.
a
Get
dark
out.
I
tone
can't give you
vibe
my
to
blood
it.
until I know
Now
it's safe.
originally
I can't
I
trust
it's
anyone.
red and
Find
black, not red and gray, but
on
I
my
think it's
own.
because of the
Mr.
sunlight
Osborn,
coloring. So I'm
No,
not
no,
being picky
just-
about the
just
suit's
go.
design at all. For animated purposes, I have no idea if it was in Across the Spider-Verse. I was looking at the
At the
darn
end of
movie
his
so
rope.
many times,
I should
but I've
have
only
noticed
seen it
a
through
long
like clips
time
and
ago,
stuff. I don't
but
have the
was busy being
DVD
played
in my
for a
hand.
fool by
I hope
Kraven.
to eventually get it
I
somewhere
can't
down the
believe I
line,
fell for his act.
but
Why would he
that's gonna
teach
be a
me his
while.
hunting
There is a
techniques
digital
if he
copy
was
out
going to
like
betray
now,
me?
like I can get it off Amazon or for whatever.
That's one of
but
the things I'll
I
have
don't
to
feel
ask
like it. I don't do digital. I rather do disc in my hand. So call me picky if you want. It's fine. Now for movies, it's not a single live action, and it hasn't even been referenced in the MCU anywhere at all. But I'm not mad at it. Eventually we'll get this showing. Now what I do recommend is that after Sony finishes Miles' story, I do recommend they do like an Edge of Spider-Verse thing where they give every Spider-Man and woman a good Spider-Man movie, like an animated one at that. Like Noir could have one right now.
Kraven owes me some
Gwen
answers.
Stacy can have one right
He's
now.
gonna deliver
Penny
whether he wants
Parker,
to or not.
Peter Porker, like stuff like that. That would be so cool. That'd be awesome. I'd be behind that 100%. I'll probably do a video about that later. Be like, what are your top like 5 Edge of Spider-Verse characters that deserve a movie, whatever. But out of all the projects, he hasn't been in much really, but that's okay. He's gonna come back up. He's gonna come back up. But oh wow. I think that's it. Well, I guess I'm gonna cut this one short. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Later, Websters.